and then we'll just go ahead and start. So again, my name is Mario Garibay. I'm the Assistant Dean of Student Affairs for Muir College. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'll go ahead and let PJ introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Priscilla Jew. I go by PJ. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I am one of the Assistant Deans of Student Affairs at 6th College.
Cool. So as I mentioned, we just have a group of current students as well as some alumni to talk about their experiences as transfer students and talk a little bit about what they were involved in, as well as a little bit of like how they found how they were able to be successful at UC San Diego, or us, finding to be successful at UC San Diego. And so we'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves, and then we just have a few questions prepared for them, but also for the rest of you, we want to make sure that you are able to ask questions yourselves. At that point, once you ask questions, we'll go ahead and stop the recording, but so that you feel you can openly ask questions as well. But we'll go ahead and just begin with introductions. And so we will start with Emily, then Kat, then Veronica. So go ahead, Emily, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Emily. I use she, her pronouns. I am an alumni of the class of 2021, so I just graduated. I'm currently a graduate student at the University of Chicago, studying international relations and politics. While I was at UC San Diego, I was involved in student government, also created my own org, and I was in John Muir College.
Cool, and I dropped the question in the chat as well, Veronica and Kat.
Hi, my name is Kat, pronouns she, her, hers, and originally from Sacramento, California. I transferred to UC San Diego last year, so this is technically my second year at UC San Diego and also my last. I'm graduating hopefully in the June 2022. I'm a business psych major, and then I'm involved in right now currently with Warren Council, Student Council. So that's how I've been mainly involved on campus. And from that, it's kind of like branched out. So from there, I got more involved into like committees. So now I'm also the chair for WTCC, which is the Warren Transfer and Commuter Committee. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, that's basically how I'm involved right now at school.
Hi, my name is Veronica. I'm a second year transfer. I'm a psychology major. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm involved on campus through Tribe of Muir Transfers, which is a Muir Transfer Club, and I'm secretary of that. And I'm also part of Muir Volunteer Program. We volunteer all over San Diego, so I'm the donations chair for that. And then I'm also in Student Foundation. I'm in a sorority on campus, Lambda Theta Nu. And this is, yes, my second year, and hopefully just like Kat, I'll be graduating this June. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Cool, thank you all. So the first question that we have for the panel is, what were or are some challenges you faced as a transfer student? So we'll do the same order each question just to keep track, and so it's alphabetical. So we'll start with Emily.
Yeah, I think some of the biggest challenges I faced were derived from feeling disconnected from the university at first, because you are coming in during your second year, during your junior year, typically for most community college students, and then additionally other transfers from other four-year institutions. So I think just feeling disconnected overall and kind of not having that courage to go and ask about different resources, or feeling like you should know what's going on at the university, even though you're kind of a fresh student, so that shouldn't be expected, but I think a lot of students feel that way. So I think that is probably my biggest challenge that I faced, was trying to feel connected, trying to get as integrated as fast as possible, and trying to find the right avenues to do so.
Yeah, like similar to Emily, like it's basically like it's like you almost like self-sabotage yourself at times, like you're feeling like disconnected, but you're really not in a way. You wouldn't realize that like a lot of people are probably thinking the same way as you are, like are equally as nervous or whatnot, but you just kind of like put more pressure on yourselves at times. I think for me, sometimes I like put too much pressure to myself, that I am only like here for a limited time, so I need to like do all these things, and like, or I'm gonna be left behind, or I should have done this like, last year or so. I was putting like a time frame on myself, and it causes me to like put more pressure. And like I like this whole stigma about like, oh, like you transferred and then you're trying to get it done in like 2 years and like get it done, on time and everything. And it's like, a lot of things I feel like get misinterpreted about being transfer students. Like I feel like everyone just goes at what's best for them. So I think that's for me been the biggest thing, like just trying to do what's best for me, taking the pace as best for me, and going from there. And also what I've noticed is like this whole thing, like imposter syndrome at times. Like I'm a first gen student, like no one in my family is, gone to a university out here in the US, let alone a UC or anything. So I think it's sometimes where I feel like this like the name or whatnot is just, it gets to me like oh, like should I be here, or like was it just like mishap that I was supposed to be at UC San Diego or so, a lot of things. And like just getting involved, I feel like sometimes I get in my own head, but I think that's why right now I'm doing the best of more so like just like I said, focusing more what's best for me, and like surrounding myself with like trying to find like people that are supportive and not necessarily like make me feel like those things that like are making me feel negative, I guess.
Yeah, for me, some of the challenges, just like Kat and Emily were talking about, I feel similar in those ways. For me, I was like, I need to really pressure pack the 2 years, especially for me, it was like COVID and Kat, like we had that 1 year. So it's like, I feel like we even have less time than most people because we didn't get like the in-person things, and you want that college experience because you didn't live here like the first 2 years and stuff, or go here. So I feel like that's why I'm involved in so many clubs. Don't do that to yourself, not too many, because I'm very stressed. And I feel like I do that just because I want like a good college experience. So then when I leave here, hopefully at the end of the year of June, that I'll be like, okay, I did what I wanted to do. But don't stress yourself out. Just like have fun and like try to just like join clubs and things like that you're really interested in, and don't feel like you're like missing something. Just like enjoy the things you do get to go to and stuff. Yeah.
Well, thank you all. And yeah, Veronica, we'll get back to getting involved and things you're involved in just a little bit with another question. But before that, thinking about those challenges that you face, maybe some of the resources either on campus or off campus utilized to support you in that process or to overcome those challenges. And again, I'll drop that in the question in the chat. And we'll same order if you're okay with that, just Emily, Kat, and then Veronica.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest resources was contacting my college, Muir College. I think they were really supportive and helping me get involved within the university in general. The resources kind of ending up being like the organizations, go to like those initiation weeks, kind of like club weeks, those rush weeks. Those are really important throughout the quarter or quarters, just to get involved and meet new people. I think that was a really big opportunity for me to feel integrated in the university, and they're always looking for transfer students anyway, regardless of what club it may be. I think that's another stigma, is that you're thinking maybe they're not going to want me. Like that's not true. They always want more people to join, and especially transfer students, because they give a different perspective on student life. Another resource that I was really attached to was my department. So making sure to contact my major advisor. They were really helpful in me finding different research opportunities, or also helping to find internships and helping you feel more integrated within the department itself. Because that's a really big feat, I think, to kind of overcome, especially since you're starting out, taking upper division courses without having that foundation of taking those lower division courses within the department already. So definitely reach out to your major advisor. And then lastly, I would say the Career Center was really helpful as well. They have a great staff member. Her name is Helen Hahn. She's really involved in putting up presentations and helping students find those outside opportunities. So I would say those were probably my biggest resources that I used during my time at UC San Diego.
So for me, like I started UC San Diego online, so a lot had to do with like basically I took it upon me to really be checking my emails and seeing what there was for me. Because at first I really just didn't even know where to start. To be honest, I didn't know if it was through the website or like Facebook or so. And then from there, it's like I started reading like the newsletters that like Warren College would send, or like other departments would send, and then they have like small Zoom events or so. And like honestly, from that, like I guess resource for me was really just like the people I was meeting, because that way I was just like building up on like different connections, and then from there and getting introduced into different groups. So I think that was helpful to me. Like sometimes we get, I guess I was getting a little like, oh, like I'm a little nervous to like join like a meeting and like I don't know anyone, and like what if no one talks and I'm just talking by myself, I don't know. And you start realizing like that's not, like if you go with that mentality, that's probably like already like setting a setback, I guess. And that's why like just by doing that, like that's how I joined. I was like find other like Instagram like accounts for certain orgs. And then that's how I found about like Warren College Student Council. And like I bonded with people there. And even so now with like my advisor with Katie, like she's amazing. And then that's made me get to know other people. So I guess my main resource is not necessarily like just one thing, or I guess one department, because I'm still learning right now about the resources on campus. But I would say that was definitely a big one for me. Like I guess just like the networking part of it, like meeting like people that were like, your advisors. And like even if I got the chance to speak to like one my like psychology professors or so, like I would go to their office hours and like get to conversate a little bit more. And that's actually even how I ended up switching my major to a business psychology major, because I didn't even know there was a business psychology major at UC at San Diego. So things like that, that's how it really started off. Like resources lead to conversations, I guess, too. So that's for me.
For me, I was going to touch on kind of what Kat just said, and what's called office hours are so important. They're kind of scary, I'll be honest. Like sometimes your like professors are gonna be like, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm scared to just talk to them because you're used to like a big class or like a big Zoom. So, but definitely use them, especially like I'm going to be using them in my writing class soon. I definitely need that for that. And honestly, they're really nice to you when you go to office hours. It looks really good. It shows that you're trying. And if like, if you're like struggling, they're going to be the ones to actually like take the time with you. Whereas like if you ask someone in class, they may not give you the right answer. Like they can help you out, but definitely the professor will really like sit down with you and like, make sure you understand a concept. So that's really important.
Cool. And yeah, I don't know if you saw Emily's note, but also they're important for letters of rec, because you want folks to like know you and be able to speak to you highly. So definitely take advantage of those office hours. And yeah, before I go into this next thing, one thing I do want to plug is, I think Emily mentioned this about getting involved and getting connected to your college, and all of these panelists wonderfully spoke about how they got connected to the colleges. One thing that's unique about UC San Diego is that we do have this college system. And one of the reasons for that is because we want to make those like one-on-one connections with students and help support you. So sometimes I think going to like what Kat was saying, like, I'm pairing it with the other thing, like that imposter syndrome sometimes creeps up and prevents you from thinking that you want to get involved and take on these leadership capacities, but you have the ability to do so. And these organizations like student councils, as well as the orgs in each of the colleges, tend to be a little bit smaller. So you get that like one-on-one connection with folks. And then at that point, then that springs forward into like other things that you can get involved in. So I definitely encourage you all to take advantage of that. And one of the things I hear sometimes a lot, last year I actually heard it from our transfer student population, is that they didn't like necessarily connect with their colleges, or they didn't think that they belonged in a college. Like they were like, oh, I don't have a college. And I was like, no, but you do. And I mean, there's like one of 7, it had to be one of those. And so it was really unfortunate because people who didn't live on campus didn't necessarily associate to a college. And so I want to encourage you now, like, even if you're not living on campus, but if you are living on campus for sure, like reach out to folks in your colleges, because I mentioned this earlier, but we love transfer students getting involved. Like transfer students just bring such vibrant perspective and such diverse perspectives based on their varied experiences. And it's just like, we value that insight and that maturity, and y'all just like really awesome. So make sure you're getting involved in the colleges. which leads into the next question, and y'all are involved, so you can ignore the first part of this question. But since you were all involved, how did you first get involved? I know Emily mentioned like recruitment weeks and things like that. But just if you want to go more into detail related to some of that stuff, as well as like what are the benefits that you've experienced about getting involved. And I feel like you again spoke to this a little bit in your last responses, but maybe if you want to go a little bit more into detail now. So we'll go ahead and beginning it with Emily.
Yeah, so I was involved in Muir College Council. I was the vice president of programming. That was my last position, but I started as the village housing representative, somewhat like an extension of a transfer representative for Muir College Council. I was also involved in creating an original org, which is the great part of UC San Diego. So if you don't see an org that you're really connecting with, you can make your own org. As long as you have 3 friends and a constitution, you can do that as well. And I'm proud to say that it's still very, vibrant and still going. So that org didn't basically die when I left the campus. It's still around within the history department. I was also involved in admissions. So I think also getting like an on-campus job is very important to feeling integrated on campus. But speaking to like my first position, which was getting involved in Muir College Council, which led to, I think, a lot of those other positions for me kind of branching out. The way I was able to get recruited for that was that I received a newsletter from Muir College saying that they were looking for applicants for Muir College Council. I was never involved in student government in community college or even high school. So I felt like this was an opportunity to make a change in my, kind of my student experience overall. And I really did enjoy it because in student government and in other orgs alike, you can make a really huge impact. During my time in Muir College Council, I was able to run several food events for, the COVID-19 pandemic. So that was really just really cool for me to do for the students. The students seemed to really enjoy it. I think we ran it twice. So once during the winter and once during the spring, along with other events, although it was limited during the pandemic. It still was really awesome to see the students enjoy the events that we were able to put on. We were also able to, by extension, not directly with Muir College Council, but by extension through Senior Squad, able to put on a really cool final event for our graduating class that none of the other colleges, I think, took part in. So we were kind of the only ones from your college. That was cool. So yeah, those are kind of the impacts that I was able to make by getting involved and just kind of give back to the students and make some actual change on campus that I wanted to see.
Yeah, so just like Emily as well, I've been part of council, and I joined basically like I saw also the newsletter on an email, and I also found that they had like an Instagram account. So I kind of like saw that, and I saw that they were like accepting applications, and I had been a part of student council in my community college. And it was something I really enjoyed. I was secretary for my time there. But I remember when the application came around, a secretary position was actually not even on the list. It was other different positions, and I still applied for them. I was like, either position for me would have been perfectly like fine with me. And I still remember like my interview. Like it was a really chill interview, but I felt like, I don't know, for some reason I felt very comfortable around these people. And I kind of explained about my experience, like how I just joined like through Zoom and everything. And I think it was the day after, I got a call from them, and they told me that I got selected to be in council, but actually they were offering me the position for secretary, which was actually like, I feel like it honestly all fell in place, because I feel like I was even doubting myself to even do it again. So like what I had applied for, I ended up getting like an exec position. And then from there, honestly, like I'm still secretary now. So it's like my second year doing it. And it's like crazy how time goes by. So that's how I've been involved. And like, honestly, something that I really like the benefit out of it was like, it became such a something to look forward to every week. Like we meet every week. And like that one, hour and a half that I was with them every week, like it made me feel like I had like a group to be a part of that like felt like encouraging, because we're all like have like our school and our classes and all stressed out. And then like we get together and like we're talking about like all these other things that we want to see change. And like, even we get like when we get like our icebreaker questions, like we get to know more about each other. And I feel like it's just like something that you look forward to. That's not, which I feel like it's an important like lesson that you need to find a balance between like academics and also getting, you know, something that's not necessarily of that. Like try to do something that's like a little bit not just the books all the time, I guess you can say, and something that like kind of like stimulates and challenges you in a way. And that's how I honestly like learned so much more about like my, like Mario was saying about like my own college. Like there's a stigma about Warren that was like fully engineering. Like I learned so much more about like even how the college system works, how UC San Diego works, like so many things from just being in that hour-and-a-half meeting every week, you know. And then from there, like I said, we had committees. So then I found out we had like a transfer committee, commuter committee. So I joined that. And that was also a weekly meeting, and we got to organize events over Zoom, like a paint night. We did a little Disney night, and like we'd send like little Amazon stuff every now and then. And then that's how I actually like met some, like one of my closest best friends actually came out of that. And like I've like people from council I'm really close with still. So it's like, honestly, that's how I've met. Like, I feel like the benefit is like, not only do you meet like really great people, but you also feel like you have really genuine like conversations about things that, you know, like you can take on later. And like, if someone were to ask you like, you know, like I've had this happen, like a freshman ask you for advice or something, it feels nice to be able to like also give your own experience about things. Like, or if another transfer student came around, you're able to bond and also like share your experience and not feel like, I guess, like shy about it. Because once you start really meeting other people, like you realize that we're all like probably on the same boat at times. So it's like you're not just a transfer student, like you're more than that. So I feel like that's also a thing too. Like I feel like now that like I'm still with WTCC, like it made me build a little bit more confidence in the way, as a benefit as well. Like I'm not like as shy about saying that I'm a transfer student. If anything, I'm actually more proud about it. It's like it makes you like work. I feel like you work really hard to get through certain stigmas and like really show that you're much more than just that. And like we all come from like different experiences, you know, like no transfer student ever went through the same exact thing. So that's, or others, even any student in general. So yeah, that's mainly the benefits out of it. Sorry, that was a little long.
For me, so a lot of people, you guys are, Kat and Emily have been talking about more of like orgs and stuff. And as I explained, I'm in a good amount of them, but I honestly don't remember how, even though it was last year, like I probably saw like for us, our newsletter is called Mere Words. So I probably saw some of them were looking for like exec board members or things like that. But I do know that because I'm an intern for Mere Student Affairs, so I found that through Handshake. And I was really interested in that. It's really good also to like get on campus internships and jobs and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed that experience. Even like going through the interview and stuff, I felt like very welcomed and I felt like excited about it. And now I'm like really close with like the interns, and I've really been enjoying it. And it's for transfers and leadership. So I wanted to like do something that had to include like transfers, because I've been like working on events to like help transfers feel more involved. Because if you live on campus, there's some transfers that live on like the outskirts of campus, like Pepper Canyon or Seventh College. Like they're not as close to like the middle of campus as like Mirror Sixth. So sometimes it can be hard. So I definitely like enjoyed doing, I'm enjoying doing those types of events, because I want to make sure they feel a part of campus, because sometimes it can be a little lonely or you feel like you're not involved, but it's really good to get involved. But yeah, and also Mirror Volunteer Program, that one of the orgs I'm in, I feel like very welcome there as well. Like I enjoy like their meetings the most. They're really short, but like we just like, we're all girl exec group this year, and we're just like so excited about that. And we just like we're not like all that even that close, but we're just like, we have such a good time in our meetings and doing different events and stuff like that. And also being in a sorority, I was very nervous about that, but I like went and looked through the different sororities, and I wanted to be in a really small one. I'm in a Latina sorority, which is not like the big ones you hear about, but we're like really small. We're like 5 girls. So it's been bigger in the past, but because of COVID, a lot of people graduated and things like that. But I really enjoy that too. And I like found that again through Instagram. You can always go through Instagrams too if you don't want to go to an org fair, and like just go like type in any type of organization you think and just add UCSD to the end, and you'll find a bunch of different organizations. And sometimes they'll have interest forms or things through there, org, sororities, all these different types of things, and you can get involved that way. So I would encourage you to do so if you're interested in any of those events, like any of those orgs or events and things like that. That's like a great way to get involved, especially now that things are coming out of COVID. I feel like most people want to get involved or in some sort of way make connections with people, because like classrooms are like big. If you have in-person classes, they're like 400. So you're like, maybe that's a little scary. But if you go to like maybe these small groups, it's a good way to like slowly get back into like normal life.
Well, thank you all. And then the last question that we have, and then we'll open it up to questions from other folks. Excuse me. What advice would you give to a new transfer student or continuing transfer students? Because we may have some second year transfer students here as well who want to get more involved or connected in their second or third year. So we'll, again, same order, alphabetical, easy. Emily, Kat, then Veronica.
I would definitely say to search out for resources. Don't be afraid to get, basically don't be afraid that you're going to get rejected. You're not going to get rejected by any of these orgs. It's very unlikely that someone's not going to let you into an org just because you're a transfer. That pretty much never happened or anyone that I ever knew happened in my career as an undergrad at UC San Diego. I would definitely just make sure to put yourself out there, to go into different, groups with an open mind, and they'll really take you, with your different perspective. I think that that's a really great way to approach any new opportunity, whether that be going into a research role, an internship role, or going into a different, just social organization. I think that's a really great perspective to take on. Even if it's not something that you're maybe super into, at least giving it a try once. No one's going to commit you to having to go to these meetings, for the rest of the quarter, the rest of the year. Even if you just want to dabble, like I was in pep band, but not really. So I think I went for like 3 or 4 times, maybe played at a few games. And that was it. Like you didn't have to be like super committed. So if it's something that you don't want to put a lot of time into, that's totally fine with most of the organizations anyway. So just keep that in mind, that if you just want to dabble in something, that's totally cool. If you want to totally commit into something, that's even better. So keep that in mind, that you're never going to have to be chained to an organization. Give yourself a try to go and explore different organizations, and you never know, you might find something that you really, really enjoy.
Yeah, like honestly, the power of just like, just going out there and with no expectations in a way, like just sometimes you end up like being part of orgs that you didn't even think about joining in the first place. And that's honestly like the cool part. Like there's so many things you can get involved in on campus. It's just really searching. And like Emily said, like you try something, if it's not like, at least you got the experience out of it. Try to see that's like something, positive. You might even like meet one person out of it, and then maybe you guys end up having a class together or something. So it's just those small things that I feel like, just go in for the experience. Another thing I honestly would say is just to just be yourself. And I know it's like very like cliche, but I feel like don't shy away just because like you might feel like, oh, I'm a transfer student, I haven't been here this whole time. Like no, like I feel like if anything, I promise you, people want to probably know more about these transfer students because you come with like from all different places and whatnot. And it's like I honestly is what helps really make the campus in its way very diverse and unique. So just embrace how you are. And I know that that's gonna like end up helping you like meet like other students, maybe transfer students, first year students, second year students, advisors. Like it's gonna help you meet more than just like one special group, I guess it's per se. And yeah, I would also just check your, I know like people don't check it as often as I would hope. Like if you can, check your emails about like I said, like like events that happen, like this one, for example, you know, like it really shows like those students that like show up in a way and like contribute and like want to learn. You leave a good impact on certain people, and like, you know, you might end up seeing them at another event, like I said. So that's how you really build connections, networking as a transfer student. And that way you can like get your, like kind of find your spot a lot easier, instead of feeling this like sense of like intimidating, I guess. So yeah, just go with like an open mind, I guess you can say. And like I said, you're gonna meet like so many different students and professors and everything. So just, yeah, just main word, open-minded. That's what's really helped me overall.
For me, Kat and Emily said like really good advice. So I don't really have too much to say except for just like go in and just be like, do whatever interests you. Like don't feel pressured to go into anything. Maybe like again, if you have a friend who really wants to go to a meeting for something for an org, sure you can like go and like with you like go with them, but like you don't have to be pressured to go like every single week. Like if it's not for you, it's not for you. Don't force yourself. You're like, oh, don't say like I'm gonna quit. Like no, it's not that big a deal. Like Emily was saying, you can try out different orgs. You can even like in some orgs, like also there's like, you know, sports and different things, and you don't have to be on like the actual like bigger teams, but you can also do the club teams and stuff like that if you're more interested in those kind of things. And for one thing though, if any of you guys are like first year transfers, again, I don't mean to like talk about sororities too much, but if you're thinking of any of those, some of them don't take fourth years, like second year transfers, I think, but that's just like, they want to make sure you get a good amount of time with the sorority or fraternity. So just keep that in mind if you actually are thinking about going into like one of those type of orgs, to if you are in your first year transfer and you actually really want to do it, maybe look into it now. But other than that, like again, other orgs does not matter. They will take you anytime, and you can just go to their events if you don't want to like go to their meetings and stuff. Like that's totally fine.
Cool. Thank you all for that wonderful advice. I appreciate each of your perspectives and insight on that last one. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now, so that any of our attendees, if they want to ask any questions, if we have any questions for Emily, please note that she has to leave in about 3 minutes. So if you have anything for her, make sure you get her before she takes off. But I'll go ahead and end the recording now so folks can feel more comfortable sharing as well. So end recording now.